Hello, good evening, and welcome to the 9320 PUBcast. So, as you can see, you've got me and Paddy. We're not sure about Stan yet, and as for the other fella, he's off in Turkey again, getting something else done. So, God knows, no doubt he might well make an appearance. In which case, we're screwed because you know what happened the last time we did that. He cut us all off. But we're going to have a bit of a reality check, a bit of positivity, and a bit of perspective on tonight's show. I think, yes, we've lost 4 games in a row for the first time since 2006 under Stuart Pearce. I think we maybe need to send Pep a beanie baby so we can put it on the touchline. Might change our look a little bit. But we think we need a little bit of perspective tonight. We've lost 2 league games. We're still in second place in the league. And we're 5 points behind Liverpool, which at this stage is neither here nor there because we play them in a few weeks. And hopefully by that point we'll have fit defenders, fit midfielders, and a good fit forward line. So let's begin our discussion. And good evening to Paddy, before I forget. And good evening to all our wonderful viewers and all those in the comments. We're delighted you could join us. And hopefully you can help us put a different kind of spin on a lot of what we've been reading over the last 24 hours. So I'm going to ask you, Paddy, your thoughts on the game yesterday.
Well, I suppose it goes back to the old cliche, doesn't it? It's a game of 2 halves. I thought the first half, we played them off the park. We should have been 2 or 3-0 up. The same with Sporting. And then the second half, then we kind of lost our way. But I have a theory on that. I think, judging by the players who are on the pitch, I think there's not the level of fitness, and Pep kind of alluded to it in his post-match presser. A lot of them, like especially Walker, and I know he gets dog's abuse, but I don't think they're fit enough for 90 minutes. And I think that's why our second half, we seem to be struggling because the players are not match fit. They're not the full 90 minutes match fit. And then don't even start on injuries. Aki, Akanji, Diaz, Stones, 4 of our central defenders. You have a young lad in there who is tasty, by the way, and has a big, big future in football, even if he doesn't make it at ours. Cool, calm, collected, reads the game very well, I think. They got lucky. Like, as I was saying to you, Amory, before we come on, their second goal, most teams would have hoofed that. But because we don't hoof it out from the back, we play it out from the back. Lewis was on the ground, 2 or 3 defenders around him, tripped over him. Your man came in like a fox in the box and picked the pocket and scored. Fair play to him. 9 times out of 10, if that had been Stones or Diaz or Aki or Akanji, that ball's getting lobbed. And he's not getting that chance. It's all about fine margins for me. The same with Sporting. Couple of penalties to change the game. I don't think we're definitely not playing the way what we expect. We're definitely not playing like that. That you can't argue about that. But I do think that's a hell of a lot got to do with players' fitness they might be fit for 50, 60 minutes, but then they run out of gas. That's okay. There's not much you can do about that. Pep and the medical team and the sports scientists know that. We're not privy to that information, obviously. But you can tell me that a lot of them players who are starting are 100% match fit, because they're not.
No, and I would agree with you. I think what kind of frustrates and worries me is that we've probably got the majority of that team are going off on international duty today. And I know we've spoke about it in our chat, but the likes of Grealish as an example, there's no way he should be going on international duty.
He has to go with his quality, he doesn't have a choice. But I seen the list before we come on because Man City have it up. Diaz is not going, Stones is not going, the Akanji's going all right, Aki's going, Grealish is going, Kevin De Bruyne is not going, Duckle's going. Well, I'll put it to you this way, and I know this isn't in our group, and especially, I'm going to mention Jack Grealish, and I love the guy, but if he kicks a ball for England, I don't think he's going to kick a ball for Man City again, because if you look at Pep's reaction to John Stones coming back from England injured when it was a friendly, he says he went nuts. I think if Jack Grealish kicks a ball for England, having not kicked the ball for us, when you have what I think players presenting themselves to play, even though they're not match fit, and they are opening themselves up to ridicule by a certain section of our fans, I think if Jack Grealish kicks the ball for England, he could be in big trouble.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with you there, Paddy. Because at the end of the day, I get that they all want to play for the country. I understand that, but we're the ones that are paying the wages, and you know, I'm also disappointed in the England setup that they've not had the decency to contact Pep.
But they wouldn't do that. It would be the one medical department contacting the other medical department.
Well, I think it happened in the past though with Southgate. Yeah, I think Southgate might have contacted them in the past.
But wouldn't my understanding of it is if they're called up, they have to go there, be assessed by their medical team, the English national medical team. And it's up to the player then to open these big chops and say, look, I'm not playing, I'm not fit. Or I'm injured, I have a niggle, I have this, I have that. I'm telling you, if Grealish kicks a ball for England, he'd be fine in a new club.
But it's interesting because Kathy just says there that Saka went off injured today.
That's because he is like he does his normal when the game's not going his normal way. He develops a limp and goes off.
Yeah, but will he be there for England? And will he be questioned?
Declan Rice went off injured too.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm going to give Declan Rice the benefit of the doubt in that he didn't play midweek because he was injured, and I think he was touch and go for today's game. So that doesn't necessarily surprise me. And I'm more concerned with our own players. You know, I'm pleased to see that Kevin's not going to Belgium, but these others have got to start, you know, they've got to have a bit of sense about them. You know, it's like, for me, I mean, he hasn't been picked this time around anyway, but John Stones can barely play 2 games a week for us without getting injured. So there's no way he should be playing 2 games a week for England because he's going to be out then for months for us, which generally seems to be the case. And one of the other things about this week is, and I know it's probably tongue-in-cheek, but all the questioning of Pep's decisions, and some people are basically saying to get him out now because he's lost interest. I don't believe that for 1 minute. I think we've got at least another season, another year with Pep. It's not been announced yet, but I'm convinced we've got a contract extension. And I think it's just at this moment in time, the rub of the green is very much against us with injuries. And you don't just go from being a world-class team to being dog shit.
Well, that's what a lot of people are forgetting. That team, you're looking at that team, apart from a few additions, have just won the Premier League 4 times in a row. Like, there's nobody sneaking into them players' houses at night and flicking off a switch and then making them into bad players. How do we know that Pep hasn't turned around and said to them players, look, just letting you know, I'm signing an extension, but I don't want the public knowledge. There's a lot goes on inside clubs that we never hear anything about. But I think in that regard, for me, I agree with you. I think Pep's going to sign a 12-month extension. But I think, apart from the young Argentinian guy from River Plate who's coming in January, we bought him last January and loaned him back. Now, River Plate want to hold on to him until the summer, but Pep says, no, I want him this January. So he's coming in. I think if we sign 2 or 3 decent players in January, Pep's staying. Because that's the first question a player's going to ask. Are you staying for next season? And if you're not staying, I'm not coming.
Yeah, no, I think you're right there. And for me, I don't know about you, but for me, in January, I think we're desperate for a proper defensive holding midfielder.
They have to be a defensive midfielder, and I suppose I should, but I don't. I don't like, we have this world scouting organization and stuff like that, but there must be somebody down in the championship who's fairly decent that we couldn't go around and say to him, look, to whoever who's down there, say, look, we'll give you 15, 20 million for him, and he'll come in and he'll do a job for the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Until Rodri gets back. Because I definitely don't think Gundo and Kovacic work.
Yeah.
Definitely don't. Even though Gundo played well yesterday, in fairness, I thought he had his best game for us yesterday. But I don't think that combination works.
Well, I would agree with you, and I think we've had this discussion before. They don't work. It slows our midfield down, and I think that's one of the biggest issues with our play this season, is that it's very slow and it's very predictable.
I imagine,
and I know you can argue the low block, but.
Yeah, but we're always going to get that, aren't we? I mean, that's because that's the way teams line up against us. But I definitely think Kevin De Bruyne will be starting against Spurs after the international break. Definitely do. But again, you're going to have to give him 6-7 games to get back into his stride. People are not seeing that, or they don't want to see that. But you have to give the players a bit of slack. They expect 11 players to turn up week in, week out and play brilliant football and be on top of their game. It's not realistic. When you lose a couple of games, the light gets shone on players and players get dug out and stuff like that. Where if the team is normally playing well, they carry that player, and allow them to have that off game or 2 off games. But Jesus Christ, half our team are injured and the other half are not match fit.
No, and I'm just thinking that unfortunately this week we don't have the wonder that is Andy's player ratings.
Maybe we should do them.
Well, I think we should. So, what would you give Edison?
I think Edison did all right. I'd give him a 7.
Yeah. I would agree with you. I don't think I should answer this one myself. Walker.
He was poor enough, in fairness. He was. I give him a 6, 5.5, 6.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you. Simpson Pusey.
He's a love. I tell you that lad is going to. He has a head. I thought he was fairly solid in most stuff that he did. I give him a 7.
Then we've got Gabidol.
So Gav's a steady 8, isn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, he's steady Eddie.
And Rico Lewis.
He's very good in the final third of the pitch or the middle of the pitch, but defensively he. But look, we've said until we're blue in the face on this channel. Rico Lewis is not a defender; he's a midfielder. So I suppose we have to judge him.
Nabil says 5.
For Rico?
Yeah.
5 or 6, yeah. He wasn't great in fairness.
This is very true. And Section says that Rico was poor too. You see, for me, it's always a mistake putting him on the left-hand side. That straight away screams we're in trouble. Then we've got Kovacic. How do we rate Kovacic?
I thought he did well. I thought he was a good 7.5, 8. I think if he has players around him, he does a lot of hoovering up.
Big Morg, all these high scores, how did we lose? Well, tell me what you think. What do you think Kovacic should score if we were to rate him on yesterday's game?
You can still score high and lose a match.
Yeah, a lot of them are giving him 7, 7.5.
For
Kathy's giving him an 8. Yeah.
Yeah. 7, 8.
And this is where we kind of get to the fun bit. Savinho.
He's probably a 7 as well. 6, 7.
I would agree. I think the thing for me is, and I've noticed it the last couple of games, is that he's desperate to score. And because of that, he often makes a wrong decision.
Yeah.
So while he looks good going forward, he needs to think more about the team than himself. That's my verdict at this point.
But he's very good in the track and back, and he's fairly good on the one-on-ones. Yes, he does come across as desperate to score, and I hope he does score, but I think that will settle.
Well, looking at the comments here, Paddy, it's a good solid 6, 6.5 for him.
Yeah, 6, 7, yeah.
Then we'll go to our other winger, Nunes.
He was 6.5, 6.
He's done well since coming in.
Yeah.
And he needed a chance, and he hasn't, to be fair, he gave a stupid penalty away the other night, but he's not let us down.
No.
So that'd be a good 6.5, 7 for me. And then we go to Gundo.
Well, yesterday I think he had the best game for us since he came back, so I'll give him a 6.
Fair enough.
And I'm going to shock you on the next one.
Phil.
Well, I'm going to shock you on the next 2, so I'm going to give Phil Foden a 5.
I think that's fair enough, to be honest.
And it pains me to do that, but you have to be honest.
Yeah. So if Phil's a 5, what are you going to score the Norwegian meat shield?
Well, I suppose he'd have to get a 7. I think he scored.
He took his goal well.
Yeah.
And I have to say, it was a fantastic pass from Kovacic to him. for the goal.
Yeah. So I give him a 7. He scored a goal. It's hard not to give him a 7.
Oh, Nabil, you're a bit harsh. You're only giving Haaland a 5, and that's just for getting the goal. Oh no, you've changed your mind. Now you're giving him a 6. Oh, well, I think you'd have to give him a 7 because he scored a good goal, and what's interesting for me is that in the first half of games, especially, our pressing is unreal from the front. Our pressing is unreal, whether it be Phil, Erling, and whoever's playing the other side of them, be it Gundo or whoever. The pressing is unreal, and we just.
But then we run out of steam in the second half, you see, because they're not fit.
And that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. But I don't think I've ever seen us look quite so
tired.
And whether it's tired, yeah, that's the word. It's interesting whether things are, because we've been going full pelt for 4 years. And I just wonder whether it is catching up with us a little bit.
Well, I don't think that it's catching up with us. I just think, well, I'll put it to you this way. I'm glad what's happening is happening now, that all them injuries are happening now, and we're off the ball in terms of not playing well. I'm glad that's happening now before Christmas, because if it was happening after Christmas, you can bye-bye to the league.
Yeah.
What are we giving Mr. Silva?
Well, he wasn't on that long, was he? You have to give him a 5 just for getting on the pitch, Paddy.
Yeah. He's one that I think is knackered. Absolutely knackered.
And then you see, what would you give Kevin? Because as we know, in the group, he got slated last night.
That's true. Look, don't mind that group. Do you know what I mean? There's a negative narrative within that group. And like if it was constructive, you could take it on board, but when it's just, he's past it, he's this, he's that, not interested. Like Kevin De Bruyne has been injured for how many months? When he came on, he looked good and strong, automatically looking for Haaland. Where's Haaland? Boom, boom, cross in, no fucking tippy-tappy, there's boom, in, and he scored himself. He wasn't that far away with his shot. So he'll be a force to be reckoned with in 5-6 matches, but I definitely think he'll start against Spurs.
Yeah.
And anybody who thinks Kevin De Bruyne is finished is overdue a psychiatric review.
Yeah, and I think the player that most people, and I know we've talked about him a lot over the last few weeks, but the most player that people think is finished and is, like we've said before, is coming in for a lot of abuse is Walker. And I personally get that he's been injured and that, in last week's game he hadn't trained, and then he played yesterday, and he relies very much on his pace, which I'm not going to dispute that he's got. But when you watched him yesterday, particularly, I'm looking at just their first goal, instead of running to the player who had the ball, he backed off him and let him get the cross in, which...
And I'll tell you why that happened. Because he's not worried about what's in front of him. He's worried about what's behind him, i.e. young Simpson. He wants to protect him. where if that was Diaz or Stones was behind him, he'd go out and nail that player. But he can't, because he's conscious of what's behind him. Not what's in front of him, what's behind him. Yes, he should have went out and closed them down in an ideal world. But I think even against Sporting, you could see Akanji was doing it even when they scored. Akanji kind of consoled them on the pitch and was telling them what to do. The next time you could see him, he's giving them instructions. So I think Walker was protective of what was behind him, instead of concentrating on what was in front of him. And I think, I watched his post-match press conference, and I think he spoke very well. And he digged himself out. He says, like, this team has been very successful over X amount of years. He says, we've never experienced this, losing 4 matches in a row. He says, it's now time to see the characters. Who's going to put their wellies on and get through the muck? So his mentality is there. Like, I don't think any Man City player goes out and wants to play badly.
No, but it was interesting to listen to Bernardo on Tuesday night that the team are in a dark place.
Yeah,
now Pep kind of said that's not the case.
But Pep's not in the locker room. Pep doesn't really go into the locker room. You know, Pep's only in the locker room on match days. He's not in the locker room with lads during training. I can't imagine their mindset is very happy after losing 2 or 3 matches. Never mind the 4th match yesterday. So confidence is down. But that's a thing, actually. They turn around and they say, when the manager loses a few matches, he learns about his players. Who like Walker said, who's going to put on the wellies they can get and start digging through them up. If you were to use that framework against a certain section of our fans who become very soft and very spoiled, like, if you were to use the same framework as you find out about the character of your player when you've lost 2 or 3 matches and you have to dig deep and shoulder the wheel, use that framework against some of our fans, a section of our fans, and you'd be very disappointed. Like, it's very easy to stand back and point a finger, but like, that team needs us more than ever. And when you're there, support them and stuff like that. But
it's the old saying, if you can't support us when we're losing, don't support us when we're winning.
Well, that's it, isn't it? I mean, but like Stan said, they all want to buy a guaranteed 5-0 game season ticket.
Yeah,
doesn't exist.
No, very true. And I think it's at times like this that the likes of me and you can kind of sit back and think, we've been in worse places.
Yeah, but you see, you're a happy clapper.
If that's what a happy clapper is, I'll happily take that, because, you know, I still can remember, you know, I have memories, you know, I think of Luton beating us last day of the season at Main Road. I can remember sitting there after Liverpool. I think we drew with Liverpool and we needed the win. The day Quinny ran down the touchline and sitting in the main stand at Main Road and watching a plane fly over saying champions again.
But not even that.
Delightful neighbours.
If not even going back to them days. If this is us in crisis, scored the most goals apart from Liverpool, sits second in the league, and we're in crisis. We're 4 points clear of one of our main title challengers for the last couple of years in Arsenal. So if we're in crisis, what are Arsenal in? Like, I haven't seen anything of Liverpool that makes me think they're going to go on and win that league, unless we absolutely collapse altogether, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think once our players get back up to speed, we'll start hoovering up points as per normal. But it's some crisis to be in. Second in the league, second most goals scored, and sitting pretty getting into the international break.
Yeah.
But I'm a happy clapper.
Well, I'm happy to be a happy clapper.
You know, I'm not negative enough. I'm too positive. I'm a happy clapper. I need to be more negative when we lost a couple of matches. 2 league matches, like that's all we've lost. And fans are a meltdown, or some fans. 2 matches in the league. 1 cup game, 1 in Europe.
And really, that cup game, for me, was neither here nor there.
I'm glad we're out of it.
Yeah, because I think we just don't need that. We don't need the fixture congestion.
Yeah.
So I've got no issue with that at all. So, you know, but it is though. It's like, you know, we said at the start of this about a bit of perspective and a bit of positivity. And, you know, that's the reality of it. It's like at the end of the day, Paddy, I love my club, but it is still just a game.
Yeah. Look, don't get me wrong, it hurts when we lose.
Yeah, of course it does.
It absolutely hurts, you know. But like, is it going to upset my life? Not really, no. It's a game of football. It's a bit of crack. The fun's gone out of it, you see. The fun is completely gone out of it. To be a football fan now, like, because what we're facing in today, you know, I have to be an accountant, a forensic accountant, and at that, you have to be a senior counsel barrister. You need to want to be a judge. You want to be a fraud investigator. You just can't be a fan anymore. You can't have a bit of crack, you know. The fun's gone out of it. It's all serious now. It's all doom and gloom. Oh, we lost a football match and the world's ending. Really?
Well, on that, Paddy, it's interesting though, because I don't know if anybody else has seen it quite a bit on the likes of Twitter this week, that various clubs allegedly are getting ready to, if we are found guilty by the Premier League, and obviously it's a big if, that they're getting ready to sue us.
Not going to happen. Because
I don't think it's going to happen.
They tried that with Everton, and it didn't work because of the statute of limitations. Well, it won't work on our part for the statute of limitations, but it didn't. There is a procedure in the Premier League rules that your man refers to there. I can't think his name. For them to kind of solve cases like that and pay compensation and all. That's all cartel, rag media throwing up that nonsense. That ain't going to happen. But this comes back to the team. We have a manager who's probably the most forensic overthinker that actually gets him in trouble sometimes because he overthinks too much. That guy is probably sitting up to 2-3 o'clock in the morning watching videos about how we can improve and stuff like that. So no wonder he's bald. So like you couldn't have a better guy in your corner trying to work out or trying to solve the issues. But when you don't have the tools, you can be the best craftsman in the world, but when you don't have the tools, you're not going to do the job to your standard. And he doesn't have the tools at the minute. And he probably is pulling his hair out, whatever hair he has. But he's definitely the biggest overthinker. Like, managers live the game. But Pep is anal. Pep goes OTT. Like, and that's why I'm surprised he stuck at 9 years at ours, because he doesn't. Like, he knocked at Cundo's door one night at 2:30 in the morning to tell him about a move. Like, that's how.
It's crazy.
And that's when we were winning. So what's he like now that we're losing? And you can see him on the touchline. It's starting to have an effect on him.
Yeah, but I think if you listen to him after the games, he's still extremely positive about himself in that he knows that it's an issue, but this is why he's here. And and this, for me, one of the main reasons we're going to get another 12 months out of him is to do with all the 115 charges. I think he's going to hang around because whatever the repercussions from it, he's going to want to be sat there facing them.
I think Pep's hate for the rag media, and he hates them, and you can really see it in the last couple of seasons. His hatred for them is stronger than the wool they leave. The only thing keeping them with ours is that for me. I think once them charges, and they won't, I can see, and I wouldn't say I'm any better than the next person at judging it, but reading into them, going back to 2009, 2010, when they weren't even, financial fair play wasn't even in existence. I don't know, like in layman's terms, I don't know how you can charge after the fact, make something illegal, and then go back date it and retrospectively charge somebody with it. I'm not sure how that works, but that case is ongoing, And if people think, and I've seen that comment, it affects the players and all, and that's why we're not playing well. Players are the most selfish animals on this planet. They'll tell you themselves, listening to ex-players and current players, the ones who are honest, when their life's in shambles and everything is going wrong, that 90 minutes on a pitch is their break from that reality. So they don't care what's happening in the background. All they want to do is kick a ball, get well paid for it, and go home. Like, it makes no difference to them players if we were found guilty or we were found innocent or not. It's not going to put them up or down. It's not going to change their contract.
No. The only player at our club at this moment in time that is going to have any impact on, I believe, is Phil. Because at the end of the day, Phil's one of us. Yeah, it's not going to affect his profession. It's not going to affect his career. But he's a City fan at heart.
And so is Rico Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
And
I just have to say, for anybody watching, please tell me you didn't rate Gallagher being in the commentary box the other night. It was absolutely shambolic. That man would get where water wouldn't.
It's just since the day him and that gobshite of his brother left, the 1999 playoff at Wembley, and I was there. When they left Wembley early that day, and then when we scored, they tried to get back in, and the security wouldn't let them back in. That was them done for me. But Liam was on record and saying that about no go to opening of an envelope. He's popular, well, he thinks he's popular, and he's in the dressing room with Pep, and one of them players should catch him by the throat and fucking throw him out the door and tell him, get lost, go and fucking play guitar somewhere.
Yeah.
But that 115 charges won't affect them players any bit, none, because once they cross that white line, that's all they care about.
Oh, Steve sums it up very well here.
What's he saying? I can't see
He
it.
says, some new fans are like Frosty the Snowman. A few poor games and the sun melts them.
But the other side of that coin, there's a few that support him a long time who have gone very soft and very spoiled and very entitled. Oh, I want fast attacking football. I want to be entertained. I want. It's like fucking Charlie Wonka in the fucking chocolate factory. I want. You know, but as Stan says, them 5-0 season tickets, they're not available yet. They might be when you open the new stand.
God help us with that newsstand.
And the fancy hotel for the day trippers like me.
Well, I'd happily see you as a day tripper, Paddy. Get yourself over.
A wannabe.
Yeah, and we'll have a few pints before a game one day.
I don't drink, Emery.
Well, we can drink soft drinks. I'm happy with that.
I can drink a mocktail and you can drink the real year.
And I'll drink the pints, yeah.
And I'll listen to your gobbledygook, drunken gobbledygook compared to your sober stuff.
It's not much difference, to be honest, Paddy. I can talk shit anywhere. Oh, dear.
But I'll tell you, for us, I think that international break has come at the right time.
Oh, absolutely. It's come right at the right time. And thankfully, we don't have another one now till, I don't know whether it's March.
But are we, see, I have no interest in international football. Are these competitive matches now? Or
well, technically, yes, they are competitive matches, but it's this new stupid thing they've brought in, the League of Nations. So it's a joke, Paddy, because all these countries have got different rankings and are on different levels, and these are nothing but glorified friendlies.
Money
makers, and that's all it is. And the biggest winners in all of this are the FA. Yeah.
So it's a bit like a Champions League, so
a little bit, yeah.
Have you worked out that Champions League format, Jude?
No, I don't understand it at all, Paddy.
And I have no interest in trying to work it out. I don't care about it. I couldn't tell you where we are on the table, and I don't want to know.
I'm not sure. I know before the game on Tuesday night, we were in 7th place.
Of how many's in the table?
I've got 32 in my head.
32 teams in the one table?
Yes. And at the minute, Liverpool are top. And up until getting beat the other night, Villa were top.
So you've gone from a group of 4, the old Champions League, we'll call it, to a group of 32.
Yeah, and the one real interesting one is Real Madrid, I think, are down in 25th place.
Wouldn't be unlike them. They spit their dummy out.
No, it wouldn't. Oh, is it 36? I think, yeah, I'm being told it's 36, I think.
There's 36 teams in the one group.
In the one group. And
how many groups of 36 is there?
There's one. It's one big group. And then it goes down to, I think at the end of the group, I think it's 8 drop out. And then there's so many that'll have to play off against each other. I'm not really 100% sure, Paddy, but it's an absolute farce, and it's another UEFA money spinner. That's all it is. Because if you think you're going from playing a guaranteed 3 games at home, 3 games away in your group, yeah, in the past. So that's 3 games where, you know, depending on who you're playing, will set the ticket value. To now playing 4 at home and 4 away before you get anywhere near before you get anywhere near getting through to the competition proper, if you like.
Oh, because no interest in us.
No, but it's the same. They've done it with all the European competitions. So if you look, I know they won the other night, but I think United are pretty low down in their group.
So the saviour's coming now on Monday.
Well, now, to be fair, they played well against us in that second half on Tuesday night.
Yeah, that's Sporting. He doesn't know what he's getting into.
No, he doesn't. And I just had a quick look on Twitter before we started the show tonight. And I think there was a little bit of unrest in the United camp at the end of the game.
They went for a I suppose.
No, a certain Mr. Fernandez didn't celebrate the third goal that Garnacho scored. And Garnacho wasn't very happy with him at the end of the game.
Oh. Because they probably know what's coming. He's going to get the door.
Well, it's going to be interesting because Van Nistelrooy wants to stay and yet claims that nobody's spoken to him yet. But he'll be under a contract with United. So is it going to be a mass clear out again of all the backroom staff and a big massive payout to them all? I think I just don't get United at all. I think I take great delight in seeing them in a mess.
Yeah, it's great. But I watched I don't know if you watch that Stick to Football podcast with Roy Keane and Gary Neville and stuff, but they have good guests on it, you know. And they had David Moyes on the podcast earlier a couple of weeks ago. And they also had your man, and you wouldn't believe it, actually, he speaks very well when he's normal. That's the Graham Hadwell. Or something, what do you call him? Not Graham Hadwell, what's his first name? Glenn Hadwell. But I was thinking, like, when I was watching them two boys on that podcast, right? Their knowledge of football and the way they speak, like, why aren't a top Premiership team turning around and saying, look, you wouldn't do a job for us there and go down there to the lower leagues, the Championship and League One and stuff like that, and see if there's any rough diamonds there you think that would come our way. Like, Brighton can do it. Brighton scored the earth. And like that fella now who marked Saka out of the game today, Cucurella, the boy that was supposed to be coming to us, like, he went to Brighton for 19 or 20 million and was sold 12 months later for 60 million. And he's a decent left back now. I know he's a bit of a gobshite, but he can play football. He can defend. He's a great left back. You know, like, why doesn't a top Premiership team employ the likes of Big Sam or Glenn Hoddle or Moyes to go down into the lower leagues and spot these guys, you know?
Well, I can fairly certainly say they won't employ Big Sam to do that kind of thing because Big Sam is allegedly, well known to be part of the Brown Envelope Brigade. The likes of David Moyes, I could well see doing that kind of job for a club. I think, love him or hate him, I think he's a decent man.
David Moyes done no wrong.
No, but, you know, the fact that he was a United manager, I think he was set up to fail by Fergie.
Oh, absolutely. Fergie got out. He left the sinking ship. But I still don't, and I know I said at the start of the show, I still don't understand why we can't go down into the Championship and get a midfield general off one of them teams to come up and play alongside Kovacic. But then when they're all back fit, then when you get into the team, you know, it's a tough one. That other fella that plays for us in the other young lad, O'Reilly, is it? Nico?
Yeah.
he has a future ahead of him as well in the centre of that park. They learn under, say, Rodri, they learn his craft the way Foden learned it off Silva. So you could be seeing him maybe not next year, but the year after as a constant player in that one of the squad, basically.
We've got a bit of an intruder, Paddy. Arsenal Premier League champions 24-25. He's throwing out a few comments about how they've won the most FA Cups. Well, Arsenal Premier League champion 24-25. Never going to happen. Would you just like to tell me how many Champions League trophies you've won? Yeah. How many consecutive titles you've won? And if you can beat me and beat City, well done. But you're bullshitting yourself if you say you have.
How many brown envelopes has your manager taken?
Well, certainly their old manager, Mr. Graham.
Yeah, Mr. Bun. You know, if Arsenal won that Premiership this year,
I can't see it happening. Can you, Paddy?
They had their little run and we busted them. Just the way we busted Liverpool and we busted Klopp. We busted little Arteta's balloon because Pep, the big bad bully, is there. Everybody hates Pep, but for some reason, every football team, even the dog and duck on Sunday morning, are playing out from the back and splitting their centre backs. Everybody's doing it, but Pep doesn't know what he's doing. It's boring.
Jealousy's a big, isn't it, Paddy?
Ticky-tacky football, and it's boring, but everybody's doing it. They're even doing it on a Sunday morning, the dog and duck.
Yeah, jealousy's a very big word, Paddy, but that's the bottom line of it, isn't it?
So look, we've been there, Anne-Marie. We've that stupid banner used to be up at Old Trafford.
Oh,
and they used to rub it in our face all the time, and they were running trebles, and we were getting relegated.
Yeah.
You know, I think we would give everything they have. And that's the other thing about financial fair play. They had a clean run at it, build up their brand, do this, do that. And then once they're become an established club, now we're going to now we're cutting the feeding off. Now that's not going to happen again now. You're going to stay down there and we're going to stay up here. And we're just going to look down and tell you what to do for the rest of your days.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think, and you might, well, you can disagree with me. And I don't like saying it, but United cashed in on all the Munich stuff.
Well, it definitely made them a global brand. You can't argue with that.
No.
And then they had the success then along with it. But then you talk about success. How successful was Fergie in Europe? Not much.
Well, he won 2 Champions Leagues, didn't he?
Yeah, over 20 odd years. How many Champions Leagues have Real Madrid won? 12. Yeah. By different managers. Zidane, Ancelotti. So Pep wanted at Barcelona, didn't he?
Yeah.
He didn't want to be Bayern Munich, and he's won it with us. So Pep has achieved what Fergie has in less than 10 years, and he's also won the domestic. He's also won the domestic quad. So, kind of overshadows.
That's a thing that Fergie said could never be done.
Yeah, not in my lifetime.
100 points.
That's
we forget about how lucky we've been in what we've seen over the last 10 years.
We're so soft and we're so spoiled now. We just think we're going to turn up, park our backsides on a seat, and watch us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-0 and play every team off the park. That's how soft and how spoiled and how entitled some of our fans have become. Like, you think about it from the opposition. when you're an opposition player and Man City are rolling into town, and we've seen time and time again, boys that are red raw useless turn into Maradona and Pele when they're playing against us. And there's wonder goals getting scored. You know? And then, but you can't blame them because they want to show I can mix it with the best, and on a one-off game, anyone can win. But that's what that clown there, that Arsenal fan, it's not a sprint. The league is over 38 games.
No, but I mean, you just need to look. He's just chatting shit, Paddy.
Ban him.
Well, he might be giving the people in the chat a few bit of banter, so it might be nice for them. I don't know. But I just think we're just, I'm pleased tonight because I think we've been, in the grand scheme of things, we've had a bit more perspective about yesterday's game, and it's not all doom and gloom.
It was fine margins.
Yeah.
If everything went according to that plan and we played it on paper, we'd have been 3 or 4-0 up at half time on either side. In reality,
that's one thing that is a little bit concerning, is that we are creating chances, we're just not putting them away.
But you see, you only have everything goes through Holland as such. Like, I would like to see Drucko, Grealish, Silva, Savinio chipping in with goals, because even say Kovacic, like if he gets a chance outside that 18-yard box, he's not, or Guardiola, Jesus, he's our second joint scorer, is he? Top scorer. Like, they should. I would like to see more crosses get into the box. Holland's game, he's had to adapt. He scored 50-odd goals last season. He's struggling for goals, even though he's golden boot at the minute, I think. But he has no space between the opposition back four and the goalpost. So he has no grass to run into. There's no real estate. It's all blocked up, which means he has to work even harder. Like, some of the goals he scores are freakish, what he can do with his body. They
certainly are. But I think, we've got, this week, we've got no games to worry about this week, only the internationals, and hoping that everyone comes back fit and well.
I would seriously hope that Walker would be sent back, that he goes there and says, look, I'm not right, and I want to go back to Man City and concentrate and getting up to speed for them.
Well, hopefully Grealish will do the same then.
The same with Grealish, the same with Aki, Guardiola, Doku. Like, I can't imagine Pep hasn't warned them. You go over there and you play for that team and you come back here injured, you can find yourself a new club in the summer. Yeah. And Pep is spiteful to do that, because if you think back, he dropped John Stones. Yeah. Even though he was playing people in the Fernandinho, and he played Rodri at centre back a few times, and John Stones on the bench, he wouldn't play him. Yeah. Because he and Pep openly admits that he lost his marbles when John Stones came back injured from an English friendly. Very true. So I think them boys are dicing me death if they're going to cross Pep. Yeah. Be interesting to see, because I could understand to some extent Walker playing, because he's played 2 games for us and he needs match fitness. So I could almost understand Walker playing, but the likes of Grealish, who hasn't kicked a ball in anger for us, I will be so disappointed in him if he plays. I would like to see Walker play 2 full games, Emery.
No, I wouldn't want him to see play 2 full games.
Maybe a half each match or something like that.
Yeah.
If you want to put it like that. But like, he's another fault. Like he's another fellow that's in mortal danger if he gets injured on international duty. Because Pep will not be a happy bunny. You know, and you like common sense, but you see, common sense is not very common, as you say. But if you're a player and the paymaster who's paying your horn, and you're going away moonlighting to another company as such, i.e. the English national team or the Portuguese, whatever the case should be, and you're going to get injured, and then you're going to come back then, you're going to sit in the treatment table while the paymaster pays your horn? I don't think so.
No, I think they will all have learned a massive lesson from last season and John Stones.
Absolutely. So even John Stones will say that to Jack Grealish: don't dare get injured because you're putting your place in the team at risk. Because Pep will play Doku or he'll play Savinho on that side. He doesn't need Jack Grealish once all them players are back. So Grealish would. I'm not just singling out Jack Grealish.
No, because it goes for a lot of them.
Goes for all of them.
And you need to think that for the likes of Jack, he needs to think, you know, Oscar Bob's going to be not far off being back.
Christmas.
So, you know, that's 6 weeks away or something.
So then you're looking to the end of January until he's up to speed, at least.
But again, it's another threat to the likes of Jack and that to lose his position.
And Doku, don't forget Doku wasn't on that bench yesterday, and he's been called up to the national team.
Yeah, but was he injured yesterday?
Well, he wasn't on the bench.
No, well then he must have been injured. But I mean, it's just continuous, isn't it? To try and
Akanji has been called up.
Yeah, Akanji was on the bench yesterday. Now, if he was on the bench yesterday, I'm struggling to see why he didn't come on.
He come on against Sporting, did he? And he was even off. Did he play against Sporting after coming back from injury?
Yeah.
So he's not 100%, not by any stretch of the imagination.
No, and
it's up to the players, Amory, to turn around and use their big gob. They're relatively use it when they want their big fancy damn contracts. And they have to take on board, they have to be cognizant of the fact that my team have lost 4 matches in 3 different competitions. I need to be the best version of myself to help that team. And if I'm going to put myself at risk by playing for my national team, even though I love my national team and the rest of it, like you have to go back into that locker room then and sit. There's no hiding space in that locker room, Man City, because it's a circle, and it's deliberately designed that way because there is no hiding corners, and you have to sit beside a teammate either side of you and look around that locker room and look them guys in the eye and say, I ballsed up. You know, and the locker rooms can be very, very unforgiving places at times. Like if you're not, the sign of a very good team is when they dig each other out in the locker room, and we're famous for that. We are. It's a common fact that inside that locker room, even going back 2, 3, 4 years back as far as Fernandinho, when he called a meeting and he called all the players to a meeting and they fucking had it out. And then we went on then and won the league. So like that's happened quite a few times since a big kind of off the kind of chart meeting. And I imagine that's going to happen again before we face Tottenham.
Yeah.
And one of the most vocal people in that locker room is Diaz, believe it or not. You know? And you never know, like Rodri might fly in as well. I know he's doing his rehab out in the sun, which is fair enough. But he might fly in like as a morale booster and sit down in the locker room and have it out, chew the fat.
I think he nearly has to.
I think, and I stand by this belief that I have, that half that team are not fully match fit, and that's the reason why we're running the gas on the second half.
Yeah.
You know, so if you don't blow a team away in the first half and convert all your chances, which is hard to do, in an ideal world, it'd be great to be going at half time 2-3-4-0 up. It kind of takes the wind out of the sails of the opposition then, and there's no fighting in the second half.
No. And that's the thing. I think if we took the chances we're creating, particularly in the first half of games, if we took them, it would be a whole different ball game in the second half. Because there wouldn't be as much for the other team to play at. But while we go in with maybe a 1-0 lead, it's never enough. It's never enough.
Yeah. And like, even listening to Haaland back a few weeks ago, when he scored against some keeper, I forget now who it was, but he blocked him the year before. And Haaland says, he spoke about it after the match. He says, last year he blocked to stop me from scoring. He says, so I knew this year what I had to do. He says, now I was actually thinking about it when I was one-on-one with him, what I needed to do. So, like, he's drawn up what happened 12 months ago, you know, to use these advantage now. So the players care, like, you know, and that's why I don't get the whole negative narrative around players. Players care. Players don't want to be playing. Players don't want to be playing badly. Players don't want to be losing matches, especially when they've been used to success at the level we have. And then you have a section of fans then just are quite happy to stab them in the back. That same team that's just give you 4 premierships in a row. You know, like, it's very easy to say that sentence. 4 Premier Leagues in a row.
Yeah.
Who's done it? Nobody. Why has nobody done it? Because it's bloody hard.
And Alec, I just want to agree with you there. Well done to City women. Bunny, a legend. They played Tottenham at the Etihad on Friday night. We were a goal up within a minute. Bunny scored. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Bunny got a hat-trick. And I can't remember who scored the 4th goal, but we won 4-0. And we are, I think we're second in the table, only behind Chelsea. But we're flying. We've gone, I think it's 5 or 6 games. Thanks, Steve. It was Jill Road. But we've gone 5 or 6 games now unbeaten. And we are flying at the top of the Women's Premier League. And I think we need to give, as much as Andy wanted him out many times in the past, we have to give a good shout out to Gareth Taylor, because what he's done with the team and how he's turned it all around is brilliant. And Bunny is an absolute legend, because she just scores for fun. She's getting no more than Erling. She'll be getting the Golden Boot again this season, I think.
Do you think if she identified as a man, Pep could pick her?
I don't see why not.
2024, Anne-Marie, anything goes.
So that'd be like saying if Erling identified as a woman, he could play for City Women.
Well, I tell you, he has the fucking hair for it. When he gets them locks down, he's like Goldilocks.
He certainly is, you're right.
Or not Goldilocks, what do you call your woman? Rapunzel.
But I have to give a shout out to City Women. They've made a great start to the season, and at the minute it's great to watch. Now we've got past the 8 o'clock spot, Paddy.
Oh God, she's going to get them out.
No, I'm not getting them out because I can't always have a different T-shirt every week. You know, there's only a limited amount of T-shirts.
I don't actually think they care if you have no T-shirt on or you don't have one.
But I haven't got a new T-shirt on this week, so I can't kind of show you anything that you haven't already seen. Oh dear me! Look at this. Can you see some of these comments? Twin Peaks, get the cherry pie out. I mean, they're just, come on, have a bit of decorum. You know, I'm just...
Leave Jackie alone.
And you behave as well, Paddy. But here's for everybody in the chat. And a special one for Paddy for helping me out tonight.
That's a fierce letdown, lads, isn't it? We all tuned in. You
just tuned in for that? It's shit or bust. Steve.
We've just lost 5 in a row.
Well, if we win 5 in a row, if we lose 5 in a row, I will definitely find a T-shirt for you all. But yeah, I think you've seen all my best T-shirts, and that's what's, it's hard.
I thought you were going to see your best bits.
Well, I think you have seen my best bits as well. No Chelsea buns tonight, Kathy. For God's sake. Just, so it was just a little something to cheer you all up. And as always, I don't know, Kathy, has anyone got anything else they want to add to the chat tonight?
They wouldn't be a first cousin of a bun, Kathy. I don't know what side of buns you're eating, but I tell you wouldn't get them in grades.
Hey, you'll like this one, Paddy. You and Paddy, bosom buddies.
The sensible too.
That's it. You notice it has been sensible.
And Stanley, in true in fairness, Stan is the man. But that other,
he certainly is.
We can't call him
the other one. I don't know.
He'll be hairy when he comes back from Turkey.
He'll be hairy, but will he still be a he?
Well, I heard he was going for an enlargement.
Oh, God help us. We don't want any displays next week, for God's sake.
Jesus, you can talk.
Mine are all natural, Paddy.
Well, that's it.
Yeah. So, folks, thanks for joining us. I hope you all have a great week. And we've got a week off.
It wasn't negative.
Yeah, and depressing, and the end of the world.
The happy clapper channel.
Yeah, that's it with the happy clappers. But as always, it's been a pleasure to have your company, and it's been a good discussion, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And thanks so much, Paddy, for being here to help me.
You're very welcome.
And to keep the show going. And all being well, I'm not sure what we'll do next week, because obviously it's an international break, so thankfully we'll have no game to talk about.
We might do a themed thing.
We might do a themed thing, yeah.
Like a themed discussion or something like that, but we'll leave that to the hairy fella when he comes back.
Well, yeah, that's it. So we'll let him decide, because it'll make him feel important.
Yeah, He needs a lot of validation.
He does. Steve is back with new something next week. It could be hair, it could be teeth, it could be anything. But
middle age.
You might be having things taken away. Who knows? But we will keep you updated. And like I say, thanks everyone. It's been a pleasure. Until next time, take care.
Goodbye, folks.